Good evening and welcome to Poland Daily. I'm Nicholas Richardson and this is the news. Day 243 of war in Ukraine. Russia's preparing for the Ukrainian counter-offensive and the imminent defeat in Kherson. The Kremlin, aware of its impending defeat, has decided to use its most dangerous weapon, disinformation. In the morning, pro-Russian authorities in occupied Kherson reported that the Ukrainian army had fired 19 missiles towards the Kakhovka hydroelectric plant. The Ukrainian side is attacking this crossing in a selective manner to avoid destroying the dam. The Russian side, on the other hand, is emphasizing on a narrative level that this dam is in danger of blowing up at any moment, which could cause flooding. Rumors about the alleged blowing up of the dam at the power plant site are not the only false information on the basis of which the Kremlin is unsuccessfully trying to sow panic around the world. Last night, Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu spoke with defense ministers of some NATO countries. He warned of Kiev's alleged plans to use a so-called dirty bomb. That is, such a nuclear payload that will give radiation and not have the explosive power of a traditional nuclear bomb or nuclear payload. If the Russians say the Ukrainians are planning to prepare something, it means one thing, that Russia itself has already prepared it. The world should react to this in the strongest possible way. The defense ministers of France, the United Kingdom and the United States have issued a joint statement in response to information spread by the Kremlin. Our countries have made it clear, we do not believe the false Russian accusations about Ukraine dropping a dirty bomb on its own territory. The world can see that such accusations are only aimed at escalating the conflict. We may be dealing with the creation of a certain information background so that if such a dirty bomb is used against Ukraine, Russia will be the first to accuse Ukraine of this attack. We are dealing with such tactics not for the first time. When traditional methods of warfare fail, the Russians resort to criminal practices. The Russians have been committing war crimes since the very beginning of this hot phase of the invasion. This includes forced deportation as well as theft of children. When the Russians occupied this city, many parents and children were separated. Hungary is expected to support the accession of Sweden and Finland to NATO by mid-December at the latest, according to the head of President Viktor Orban's chancellery. Such a step would be a tangible strengthening of the alliance and could bring the moment of ending the war in Ukraine closer. The sooner these countries join the alliance, the safer it will be in Europe. The safer it will be for Poland. This is a very good decision. This is also a huge geopolitical challenge, for the reason that, de facto, the Baltic Sea will become an internal sea of the North Atlantic Alliance, except for a small fragment that belongs to Russia. For Sweden and Finland to join NATO, the consent of all alliance member states is needed. If Hungary supports accession, then NATO enlargement will depend on the decision of Turkey, which is the last country yet to make a decision on the matter. Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki, Deputy Prime Minister Mariusz Błaszczak and the United States Ambassador to Poland, Mark Brzezinski, visited the 32nd Tactical Air Base in Łask, which plays an important role in Poland's defence system. It is a unit with new structures that meet NATO requirements. American soldiers are stationed there as part of the air shielding mission.
Until a few years ago, there were those who believed that wars were history, that there was no need to worry about defense policy, no need to invest in it. But reality, today's days, very brutally verified that naivety, because naivety is at the root of many wars. The moment one country thinks that it is already completely safe, that nothing can threaten them anymore, then very often there is an attack. And today, together with American pilots, together with American soldiers, we are showing what a true alliance is, what true cooperation is for the common good, for security, for strengthening security. We are modernizing the equipment of the Polish army very intensively, and the United States is our main partner in this process. Already, Patriots, Polish Patriots, are on Polish soil and are already integrated. The first Abrams tanks will be delivered to the Polish land forces next year. Also next year, a HIMARS rocket artillery squadron will go to the Polish land forces. So we are consistently strengthening the Polish armed forces, cooperating with the U.S. and building interoperability between our armed forces, deterring the aggressor and ensuring the security of Poland, but also the entire eastern flank of NATO.
Just before this press conference, I met with American soldiers serving in Łask Air Force Base and Polish soldiers.
The result of a vote of Conservative Party MPs was announced at 3 p.m. Polish time. The only candidate who met the required threshold of support from at least 100 MPs is former Chancellor of the Exchequer, Rishi Sunak. He will become the new party leader and Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. He could take office as early as tomorrow.
I'd like to pay tribute to Liz Truss for her dedicated public service to the country. She has led with dignity and grace through a time of great change and under exceptionally difficult circumstances, both at home and abroad. I am humbled and honoured to have the support of my parliamentary colleagues and to be elected as leader of the Conservative and Unionist Party. It is the greatest privilege of my life to be able to serve the party I love and give back to the country I owe so much to. The United Kingdom is a great country, but there is no doubt we face a profound economic challenge. We now need stability and unity, and I will make it my utmost priority to bring our party and our country together.
Early today, London has welcomed the news that Rishi Sunak looked set to become Britain's next Prime Minister after his rival and former Prime Minister Boris Johnson quit the race.
I'm definitely not sad we're going to get Boris. I think that whole situation was a real pig at the end. And equally the same with Liz Truss, right? I think it's scary how we've kind of turned a page and continued down the same track. So I think Rishi seems a little bit more astute with stuff, but at the same time, I think there's some big things that he's got to come up against straight away. So he's got a big job, but we'll see.
I think he's broken too many bridges, and I trust somebody who's let's go back to the competence word again. Yeah, I'd rather have Richie back in office.
I just think it was chaotic when he was in charge, so I don't want to see that again. I got sick of watching the news and every night something new popping up, so we just need some stability right now.
Rishi Sunak will be the first British Prime Minister from an ethnic minority background, the youngest to take office in more than 20 years, and the third British head of government within the past 2 months. Sunak will take office after being received by King Charles III, who will formally ask him to form a government. The audience is likely to take place tomorrow. Rishi Sunak was born in 1980 to a family of Indian expatriates. He is a graduate of prestigious schools, Oxford University and Stanford University. Sunak's initial career was in finance and management. Later, he left business for politics. Since 2015, Rishi Sunak has been a member of the House of Commons. In 2020, he held the office of Chancellor of the Exchequer in Boris Johnson's government. However, due to conflicting visions and policies, he resigned from his post on the 5th of July 2022. Sunak, as the new British Prime Minister, will have to face one of the most daunting sets of challenges, tasked with rebuilding Britain's fiscal reputation through deep spending cuts as it slides into a recession, dragged down by surging energy, food and mortgage rates. He will also preside over a party that has bounced from one crisis to the next in recent months, badly split along ideological lines, and a country that is growing increasingly angry at the conduct of its politicians. Wearing wimples, wigs and even a shark head, Belgians hopped into giant floating pumpkins to take part in a relay race across a pond yesterday, resurrecting an annual tradition halted by the COVID pandemic. To win the regatta, teams of 4 had to be the first to race around a hut in the middle of the pond in the northern town of Castellet, before driving their paddles into a hollowed-out pumpkin on the opposing shore. It was great. We are all competitive and we really gave it our all for our supporters. We are from the same sports club, so we are real athletes, and that's what we've shown today. That's what we've been doing it for. Organisers said the event began as a way of putting the oversized vegetables grown for competitions to good use, but they have become a victim of their own success. Many are now too big. The reason why we started is that years ago we started competing. And after the competition, we were stuck with huge pumpkins. So we started thinking about what we could do with them, and we found out that in the United States, they were already boating with pumpkins. We decided that we could do this as well in Castellet, but instead of using 1 or 2 pumpkins like in the United States, we boat with around 20 of them. The flesh is hollowed out of the giant winter squashes in the morning and turned into soup before the main races, split into children's, women's, men's and mixed competitions. This year the race was fully booked in 3 days with 65 teams of 4 people signing up, some of whom had travelled especially to take part. Spanish-born Oscar Goel, age 36, travelled from Brussels for the occasion.
It's dirty, it's sticky, it's oily, and you have the feeling that you may be into the water anytime. It bounces a bit.
That's the news. Thank you for watching. Stay with us for the weather, Poland Daily Business and more programmes. But from me, it's have a good night and a better tomorrow.